Life as we know it exists. We humans are alive. You're alive right now watching this video. But scientists still don't know exactly how it began. They do know that it began on Earth about 3.7 billion years ago. But everything before that is a mystery at the intersection of biology, chemistry, and astronomy. So here's so we think we know and what we trying to figure out about how life began. One theory to explain the origin of life on Earth is called the primordial soup theory. According to this theory, the building blocks of life were present on early Earth in a kind of soup, and all they needed was a little energy to turn them into living cells. Scientists think that energy may have come from lightning or volcanoes. That would have provided the spark needed to trigger chemical reactions that formed amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, which in turn could have formed proteins. An experiment called the Miller-Urey experiment in 1952 showed that amino acids could form under conditions similar to those on early Earth. In the experiment, a mixture of gases thought to be present on early Earth, including methane, ammonia, and water vapor, were circulated through a system that simulated lightning with electric sparks. After a week, about 2% of the carbon in the system was in the form of amino acids. While this experiment provided some support for the theory, it doesn't explain how amino acids assembled into proteins or how genetic material came to be. It also doesn't explain how cells formed. Another idea is Panspermia, or life from space. This theory says that the building blocks of life, or even microorganisms, arrived on Earth from elsewhere in the universe, perhaps carried here on asteroids or comets. This idea is supported by the fact that organic molecules like amino acids have been found in both meteorites and comets. And in 2014, scientists reported finding evidence of amino acids in a meteorite that had fallen to Earth in 2011. But there are other scientists argue that if these molecules did arrive on Earth from space, it probably wasn't in a form suitable for life as we know it. And there's no evidence that microorganisms could survive the journey through space or the harsh conditions on early Earth. Still another theory proposes that life began at hydrothermal vents on the sea floor. These are areas where heat and minerals create a favorable chemical environment for life. Some scientists think that because conditions near these vents mimic those on early Earth, they may provide a clue to how life began. Proponents of the theory suggest that the energy from the vents could have powered the formation of organic molecules, including amino acids. In 2021, scientists reported that they'd found evidence that simple cells resembling bacteria once lived near deep-sea vents. But none of these ideas fully explain how non-living chemicals on early Earth assembled into living cells, and that's the gap we can't cross yet. No one has been able to recreate the process of abiogenesis or the origin of life from non-living chemicals in the laboratory. So for now, the question of how life began remains a mystery. But that doesn't mean scientists aren't working on it. Researchers continue to explore promising areas of research, like the clay minerals hypothesis, which suggests that clay minerals may have played a role in concentrating organic molecules and providing a surface on which they could interact. Others are studying how life might have begun in volcanic areas or on land rather than in the ocean. It might seem like a purely scientific question, but why does any of this matter? Well, understanding how life began could help us answer the question of whether life could arise again under different conditions. And that could help us find life elsewhere in the universe. It also helps define what life really is. If we understand the chemical processes that led to the first cell, what does that say about other cells? What do they have in common? What makes them unique? Answering these questions may not just tell us about the past, but help illuminate our place in the universe. And that's 1 minute. See you next time.